name of this high school boy is Naoto. He is so shy that he starts trembling while talking to girls. One day Naoto goes to the school library to do his homework where some girls were already present. He did not like him at all because they were talking loudly in a place like the library. On top of that, they were making fun of him that he was nervous even though he was 5 feet away from them. Naoto accidentally drops his drawing and one of the girls picks it up and tells the other girls that he is drawing adult manga. After reading his script, one of the girls introduces herself and tells him her name is Nagatoro Heya. She calls him Senpai and starts making fun of the plot of the story written by him because in reality Naoto had shown the main character of his story like himself, although his main character in it is nowhere near as cool as he is. In other words, he is a complete coward. To prove this, she asks him to reenact a scene from his story in which he is a coward. She will play the role of female protest and he will play the role of male. However, when the scene of her being cool comes, he gives her the right. After this she makes such a dirty joke on him that he starts crying and then she leaves from there. Even while sleeping at night, she has dreams of laughing. However, her reality changes the very next day when Yace comes to know where he hides. Before entering the room, she returns his handkerchief and says that she had washed it, which makes her a little shy. She also comes inside the classroom, teasing him. She says that both of them are alone in a room, which means they can do anything. By looking around she comes to know he thinks that he is drawing the things present there, so she goes and sits on the chair and asks him to draw himself. His hand is broken when she starts opening her buttons so that he can draw her better. Seeing this, Nar gets stunned and says that can't she be normal. When he starts drawing, he is just staring at her again and again and does not make anything of the canvas. Heya understands that he is just staring at her, so she says that if he draws a good picture of her, she will give him a reward. So he starts drawing, in which he takes almost the whole day. However, his drawing turned out to be very good and Iase likes it a lot. As Iase had promised, she agrees to give him the reward and asks Naoto to close his eyes. She comes close to him to kiss him, but just as their lips are about to touch each other, she steps back and starts laughing out loud. She says that if he feels that just if he does this much, he will get a kiss, so he has high expectations from his life. She starts making fun of him for not drawing his thighs. She teases him so much that Nadu starts crying. Then she follows him on his way home and asks him to go on a date with her, and he falls into her trap once again. She tells him that she is just playing with him for fun, so she pushes him from behind and he falls straight into the canal nearby. However, he doesn't feel bad and says that it is not a big deal for him. While he was completely drenched, she asks him if he doesn't get angry sometimes because she knows that no one has ever troubled him more than she has. Unfortunately, Hato doesn't get angry at all. Whenever someone troubles him, he doesn't do anything because when they get bored, they go away on their own. In fact, he likes Hato's troubles. This was his first time with Nadu. He asks for his name and she writes Nagatoro on his shirt with her finger. The next day Naoto is alone in the drawing room and he can't wait to read his new adult manga. The yearning is like this though. Again, to console him, he immediately hides the manga behind him, but Hayes understands that he is trying to hide something as soon as she sees it. She lovingly asks him to read the manga with her, which loosens him up and snatches the manga from him. She pats his head every time because he always falls for her words. As soon as she opens the manga, she sees a boy's paradise on the very first page. He tries to explain that it is right according to the plot of the story, so she shows him a panel and compares its main character with Nadu and starts making fun of him just for thinking that he can do something like that. Nadu says that it is nothing like that. I don't want to be like that man. I just wanted to read that story because it shows the story of true love between vampires. After he says this, she reads it and really likes it. She even tells him that one character was exactly like her. That was the poor boy whom the vampire had trapped in her web and sucked all his blood. However, she says that nothing will happen to him because vampires do not drink virgin blood. He gets fed up and asks how can she say that she is a virgin. Hearing this, she challenges him. She looks at his neck and asks if she can bite him like the vampire had bitten him in the story. She tells that it will not hurt at all, it will just feel like an ant has bitten him. she starts moving towards him and suddenly jumps on him. She says that now he is her prey. He asks her what will she do if someone sees them like this. However, she ignores his words and starts caressing his neck. She bends forward to bite him, but there was a foul smell coming from Nado's mouth, due to which she immediately steps back. But as soon as he starts leaving, she attacks him again, and this time, instead of the throat, she accidentally gets trapped in his throat. She catches hold of the thing. While going home, she follows him and asks him if this is the first time a girl has done this to him. She tells him that she can do it again, and this time she will do it better. She moves her hand towards him, but at that moment she grabs his stomach. Once again she starts kissing him. She leaves him in the middle of the room and runs away. At night, while reading adult manga, he starts thinking about her, and while lying in bed, he starts having balangelosis, music, and says that he does all this. Naoto tells Natsuki that he will not do anything, and neither will he get anything for winning. She tells Natsuki that it is not so, he will get a ticket which he can use to make her do anything. She starts counting all the things that she can do with the ticket. Natsuki thinks that if he wins, he can stop Hayes from bothering him, so he agrees to play. Natsuki is the first to play, and her dyspareunia moves towards him. However, she misses him at first but starts moving her fingers around him, which he is unable to handle, and accepts defeat. Natsuki tells Natsuki that it is his turn to take revenge. He moves towards Hayes, but just as he is about to touch them, Hayes pushes him and says that her time is up. Then she runs away from there in a hurry, saying that she has to meet her friends. In the evening, she goes to a less crowded restaurant so that she can work on her manga in peace. But then Hayes starts kissing her. She goes there with her friend and two boys. Looking at them, it seemed that they had come on a double date and now was listening to them secretly. The boys were talking big about their music band, but Hayes was not bothered by their talks. The boys also play a song made by them which seemed worse than Tony Cocker's song to him. On the other hand, Nao is hiding in a corner waiting for Haya to start making fun of them, but Haya does not make fun of them. She just says that they should stop making songs. The boy feels so insulted that he has to go to the toilet again. While going home, Nao thinks whether he is the only one whom Haya troubles so much because he insulted those boys directly in their face. Then suddenly Haya comes behind him and starts troubling him again like every other thing. The next day, she comes again to the art room and asks if she can become a model for his drawing. But he refuses, saying that he doesn't want to draw real people but inanimate objects. She immediately takes off her clothes and shows him something that he has never seen before. It was her swimsuit. After school, it starts raining heavily and both of them look for a place to stay. Seeing Ma, she doesn't leave him alone and says that she knows that Nadu is very eager to see her in her wet uniform. Nadu clearly denies this false accusation. He thought that she is just teasing him because she is already wearing a swimsuit inside. So, to make her comfortable, he turns towards her and finds that he can see clearly through her uniform and she is not wearing a sunsuit. Both of them immediately turn away from each other in embarrassment. Then the rain starts pouring more heavily. So, as her house was nearby, seeing her parents' shoes, Nadu thinks that her parents will also start harassing her, but in reality there is no one at home. She asks him to wait for a while and gives her brother's clothes to wear and dries his clothes after washing them. After taking a bath, he goes to her room and sits there. She makes tea for him. Hayes understands that he has come to a girl's room for the first time, so she asks him what is that thing that two people do when they are alone in a room. To this, he says that they study. She puts her hand on his hand and says that both of them will heat up the atmosphere by playing this video game. She tells that she has become a master of that game by playing with her brother. However, Nadu knocks him out in just 2 moves. Haya feels bad and Nadu feels that after facing so much trouble, she has finally got a chance to take revenge from Haya. In the next round too, she will do the job of killing her. Just then Haya blows in his ear and he immediately loses his focus and loses the game. They both play the whole time and despite cheating they both have a lot of fun. The next day in school, Naoto is looking upset in the cafeteria because there is no place to sit. Haya asks him to sit with her because there is a spot vacant. Since there is no other place to sit, he has to sit with her. Her friends immediately guess that he is Heia's boyfriend. Instead of denying their statement, she says that yes, they are in a relationship. Her friends start making fun of him, saying that he is behaving like a coward and he looks more like her dog than her boyfriend. Heia agrees with them and starts shaking her head. When she says no, she gets very embarrassed, saying that don't touch her hair because it is dirty. Surprisingly, she seemed a little angry when another girl shows her a mosquito bite. Then Heia gets really angry. Nadu notices all this and suddenly stands up and says that he is not her boyfriend and quietly starts having his lunch. Later, Aya asks him why he does not say anything to anyone. Those girls were insulting him so much and he was sitting quietly. She tells him that if someone is troubling him, then he should hit him on the shoulder. To make him angry, she starts teasing him, but instead of hitting him, he starts crying. Seeing this, Heia starts teasing him even more. When the joke becomes too much, then Nadu really hits him hard, but after teasing him at the wrong place, Nadu goes to wash his hands, where Heia also suddenly comes and starts using the same tap in which Nadu was washing his hands while there were many men there. The situation was already awkward, and on top of that, she says that it seems like they both are taking bath together. She holds his hand and rubs it like this. He runs away from there feeling shy. Later, he is quietly having his lunch in the art room when he hears the sound of the door opening. At first, he thinks that Heia must have come to trouble him again, but actually her friend had come there. She calls him a virgin and starts shouting at him and says that he is the king of the perverts. Hey, this is what I am talking about. It happens when she forcibly forces them to do something which is the dream of the boy. However, what she caught was not the real thing but the bean buns which she had hidden inside her uniform. She starts laughing at him again, but then Heia comes there and it seemed as if she would tear them apart and eat them. The girls immediately run away from there and congratulate Heia on Nadu that she has lived the fantasy of millions of boys in reality. Nadu tells her that it is not like what she is thinking, they are just bean buns. On hearing this, she starts laughing and teasing him again. She asks him to play the same game with her. She says that if she finds out which bean bun is of good quality, then she will give him that bun. She stuffs both of them inside her uniform and asks him to find out by touching which bun is softer. He refuses but tells Heia that if she does not do such a good thing, then she will give him that bun. Naoto is very timid. Naoto slowly extends his hand towards her and closes his eyes. He holds it and checks which bun is softer. Then by mistake a good quality bun falls out of his shirt. So when Naoto goes to touch the left bun, he was unknowingly holding the real thing. The guy doesn't even stop and starts using both his hands to make sure that the bun is of premium quality. I am telling you, you won't find more premium quality than this anywhere else. When he opens his eyes, he immediately tells that the left one should be of the best quality. However, when he sees that the good one has fallen on the table, Heia beats Naoto with the same bun and makes a barda. 2 days later, everything is over and once again Heia asks him to be her art model. She sees that Naoto is watching a baseball match going on in the ground. Everyone is praising their star player. He says that apart from drawing, he is also watching baseball. Naoto is not good at anything, and if he gets a little praise, then he will get motivated. She tells him that if he wants someone to praise him, then he will have to praise the other person too. So Nagatoro tells him to praise her and she will find it complimentary. So he compliments her hair. Even such a simple compliment of hers was taken by surprise, and when he first got it, he found it quite bad. Instead of praising her in her turn, she starts making fun of him. After that, she starts her modeling session, and here she was doing such poses that Nadu gets embarrassed. After a while she falls asleep and sleeps soundly. When she finally falls asleep, Nadu gets a chance to draw her, and the drawing was really good. Nadu found some mistakes in it, but before he could correct them, Heia comes behind him and says that his time is over. She asks him to close his eyes to give him his reward. She says this and gets an old man to kiss her. The next day she comes to the art room again and starts harassing him again with her anger, but today was different because Nadu was ignoring her. Suddenly her friend comes there and asks Nadu to go out with them instead of Heia's. Surprisingly, Nadu agrees and Heya is stunned. As soon as they left from there, she became very upset. Dream. Actually, she fell asleep in the same room as Nadu and she starts worrying about him. Heya notices that he threw away her blanket. Nadu says that he didn't want her to catch a cold. Heya gets a little shy seeing his sweet side. A few days later, in the art room, Heya is staring at Nadu on purpose. Heya says that she must have known that she is up to something. Saying this, she gets up and runs after Nadu to tickle him. After teasing him for a while, she shows him a sheep on her phone whose wool is being removed. Nadu realizes that Nadu's hair is also fluffy like that sheep. She tells him that his hair has grown so much that she will give him a nice haircut. Nadu gets scared when she takes out a trimmer from her bag. She tells him that she borrowed it from her brother. Nadu backs away and says she tells him that her barber has not used a trimmer on her hair yet, so she takes out a comb and scissors from there. She tells him that she has also cut her brother's hair, so there will be no problem. He reluctantly agrees to her. As soon as he starts cutting her hair, his phone starts ringing and his friend asks him to return her notes. Yaya tells him that she will return immediately, however he does not know that his friends have fooled him. As soon as they enter the room, Nadu gets scared and his soul trembles when both of them see the trimmer kept on the table. They plan to make him bald. One girl catches him from behind and the other starts moving towards him with the trimmer. He asks them to stop, but no one listens to him. He says that he had promised Hayes that she will cut his hair. Luckily, Heya reaches there at the right time and she was not looking happy at all. She takes notice of his anger and immediately leaves from there. In the end, Nagatoro cuts Nadu's hair. When she shows him her haircut, Nadu likes it a lot. He blushes and thanks her. Hearing this, Nagatoro also blushes a little. After a few days, summer begins and while going home, the energy of both Hayes and Nadu was completely down. Hayes asks him to eat an ice cream. However, when they reach the shop, they find that there is a very long line there. Nadu says that he will buy ice cream for her from the store, but she wanted to eat an ice cream, so she pulls him along with her and makes him stand in the line. The problem was that despite standing for a long time, the line was not moving even an inch. She was completely exhausted due to the heat, but still was not ready to leave the line. When Nadu notices that she is about to faint, he immediately holds her hand and forcibly takes her away from there. He makes her stand in the line. He sits in the shade of a tree in the park and buys cold water for her. After drinking it, she gets recharged. Suddenly she goes somewhere and after a while she comes from behind and forces a cold ice cream on Nado's neck and he is shocked. While going home, she tells him that their summer vacations are starting from tomorrow and she will be busy in her club activities. So she asks for his contact number. After taking his number, she tells him that from now on she will harass him online. 1 month passes and Nadu finds himself in an unknown place. The girl sitting next to him tells him that he has been chosen as the Messiah of this world. His mission is to finish off the demon lord who is spreading havoc in that world. As soon as she says this, the girl pushes him from there and he starts falling down from the sky. He has to use magic. Nadu did not know how to do it either, but then he sees a stick in his hand and because of the stick's glow he lands comfortably. However, the thing on which he landed was a big lizard which started chasing him. He attacks it with the help of his stick, but it did not matter to Nadu. Suddenly a cat-like looking girl comes there and saves him. That girl looked exactly like a lizard. She tells her name as Nagatoro. Both of them together defeat many demons. They even have to fight a dragon. Nadu is stunned when Nagatoro kisses him in happiness of defeating the dragon and promises that as long as they stay together, no one can defeat them. That dragon is none other than a girl Gambo who looked like Nagatoro's friend. Yoshi is also there and comes out after breaking an egg. It is decided that all 4 of them will go inside the demon castle. They come to know that the throne is empty and actually the Lord of the Gods was none other than the 3 of them. They start making fun of his stupidity, especially Nagatoro says how did he assume that she would love him? Why would anyone love you? Luckily, as he shouts, He wakes up and everyone in the restaurant starts staring at him. Just then, Nao also comes there with his friends. She comes to him but Nao tries to run away from her. Nao leaves from there in a hurry and mistakenly forgets his sketchbook in the restaurant. When Nao opens it and looks at it, he sees only a drawing of her in a cat costume. She gets embarrassed but she also thinks that she has got another material to trouble Nao. She starts running after him asking if that drawing is his. Nao starts running after seeing her but gets tired after running for 10 meters and refuses to believe that the notebook is also his. She tells Heya that she is a great student. So okay, from now on this notebook is mine. The next day Hayes invites him to go to the beach with her as it was going to be the last day of their summer vacation. At first he refuses, but he knew that no one else was going to ask him, so he finally goes. As it was bound to happen, on the way to the beach, the three of them were harassing him. As soon as they reach the beach, Maki takes off her dress and catches Not staring at her bikini. Her other friend also starts doing the same, so Not leaves from there. Later the girls are enjoying swimming but they notice that Not is sitting alone under the umbrella. She says that if he wants to be alone then let him be. However, Not doesn't listen to her and goes to Not and asks him to go swimming with her. Not says that he has a problem with the sun. Hayes says that she doesn't need to worry because she has sunscreen. However, when she is about to apply the sunscreen on him, Not stops her and says that she can touch him only if they are doing it. After hearing this, she kicks him down and starts applying cream on him with her feet. Her friends also join her. They enjoy the last day of their summer vacation very well, and even Naoto admits that he had a lot of fun. With the end of summer, the summer festival was also about to end and everyone was ready to watch the fireworks at night. Naoto wanted Yuga to be with him at such a time, but in the end he starts playing games at home, although his mind is not at all in the game and he is waiting to call her like the last time she called him to the beach. He thinks that he is waiting for her to call him. He takes her to his house.